Okay, so if you've ever felt like you're doing literally everything right in your business, you're following all the rules, trusting your gut, targeting the folks who seem to desperately need you the most, yet the profits just, well, they just aren't matching your effort, trust me, you are definitely not alone. Welcome to this explainer on Uncommon Sense, the architecture of profitable marketing. Today, we're going to completely flip traditional marketing wisdom totally on its head. This approach proposes a radically different blueprint for how we actually build profit, and it all starts by asking us to deeply question the very foundation of how we make our everyday decisions. So I really want you to stop and ask yourself, what if relying on that comfortable, familiar gut instinct is actually the exact thing killing your profits? No way, right? It's honestly a pretty scary thought. I mean, as humans, we're totally hardwired to trust our intuition because it keeps us safe in our daily lives. But when it comes to the architecture of profitable marketing, your intuition might actually be laying a trap. It's kind of luring you toward comfort rather than driving actual measurable financial growth.
All right, let's dive right into part one, the uncommon sense approach, and discover exactly what uncommon sense that sells really looks like in practice. Which brings us to part two, brands and visionaries. Let's take a look at the two key players operating in our marketing landscape. Okay, first up, we have what the source calls stunted brands. And you really got to notice that word choice there, stunted. Not failed, not dead, just stunted. These are businesses where massive growth was absolutely possible, but some invisible barrier just stopped them dead in their tracks. Basically, they hit a ceiling because they rely entirely on that comfortable gut instinct we were just talking about. They just do what feels right to them, totally unaware that so-called common sense is exactly the thing trapping them in this endless cycle of super high effort and incredibly low return. It's a pretty huge cautionary tale for all of us. Now, on the complete flip side of that coin, we have the marketing visionaries. Listen, if stunted brands are trapped by common sense, visionaries are the ones out there wielding uncommon sense as a weapon. They don't just participate in the market, they literally engineer it. Actually, scratch that. It's more like they hack it. They look right past all the obvious stuff and study the underlying math and those weird counterintuitive buyer behaviors that stunted brands just completely ignore. They are actively hunting for the hidden metrics that dictate actual profitability, rather than just taking wild guesses or blindly doing what everyone else in the industry assumes is best. Moving right along to part three, the intuitive target trap. It is time to challenge some serious conventional wisdom.
So naturally, we all desperately want to bridge the gap between these intuitively appealing targets on one side and the truly profitable targets on the other. We want to believe, deep down, that the people who seem like our perfect, most obvious customers are the exact same ones who will drive our revenue. But as the visionaries know, this is a massive trap. Those obvious customers, they're usually highly contested, heavily marketed to, and just ridiculously expensive to acquire. Their attention is completely fragmented. You absolutely have to separate what feels intuitive from what actually generates real profit. Because here's the harsh truth, where everybody else is looking, the margins are almost always the thinnest.
And that sets us up perfectly for part four, secrets to profitability, which finally brings us to the big reveal.
Here is the absolutely crucial takeaway you need to internalize from this whole explainer. Intuitively appealing targets are rarely the most profitable. Let that sink in for just a second. What makes the most sense to your gut is rarely what actually makes the most money. The most obvious customer might actually be the hardest one to convert, while the highly profitable target, the one the visionary is out there actively chasing, might seem completely counterintuitive or even a bit obscure at first glance. That right there, that is the absolute essence of uncommon sense. So as we wrap this up, it's really time to evaluate your own brand's architecture. Are you falling for that intuitive trap? Are you out there chasing a super appealing but ultimately unprofitable crowd? Or are you finally ready to challenge your deepest assumptions and uncover the uncommon sense of finding those truly profitable targets? Ultimately, the choice between being just another stunted brand and becoming a true visionary is completely up to you. Keep questioning the obvious, and until next time, keep exploring those uncommon paths.